Welcome to the Askem Studios Podcast. Join us for a lively discussion about all things I do. This episode is pre-recorded with an audience of our 5 kiddos, a dog who's convinced he's a ring bearer, and a cat who could care less about weddings. Get ready for laughs, loves, and a touch of chaos. Let's dive into this week's episode of the Askem Studios Wedding Podcast. Welcome to the Askem Studios Wedding Podcast. I'm your host, Todd, and
I'm Kelley.
It's great to be back. It has been a very, very, very long time.
It's not been that long.
It's been a year. It has been exactly. In fact, I went back and I listened to the last episode. And the last episode we had malnutrition, people that were starving for the podcast. And you had made some comments saying that if they were to prove that they were malnutritioned and starving for the content, that you would be more committed. And so since then, they'd probably have died. But there's someone out there that's just waiting for a new episode. And so we are back. And
such fake news.
Not only are we back, we're back in a new format. So now we're on video as opposed to just being audio only. So if you're listening to this on an audio podcast platform, you can actually find the video version of this on our YouTube channel and as well as on Spotify. They support video too. So headed into the new things that have been happening, Kelley, would you like...
Wait, so if this is on video, then I can't be making funky faces then?
Well, you can. It's just going to be some clips of you making funky faces on the video side.
No, great.
So, anyways, it's great to be back. We actually had the pleasure of doing a podcast here the other week for the Dazed and Engaged Ding Ding podcast. Not Ding Ding, that's not part of the title, but that's a plug. And so, Kelley and I have been talking since then, and we really do enjoy doing these. It's a great avenue for our couples to get to know our personalities and, and just to get to know us a little better. And honestly, it's nice to get a break from, the regular business proceedings to enjoy, to be able to highlight what we enjoy doing. So, which is educating our couples. So, Kelley, you can tell the lovely audience some of the new and exciting things that are going on right now.
You mean as far as with the business? Okay, because there's a lot of stuff going on in personal life. So, this year, for those of you that know Todd and I, we are, Christ is the center of our lives, and so anything that we're doing with, the Lord's guidance, and we follow his path. He's blessed us with an amazing business and has, it's just changed our lives. And so we want to be very intentional about making sure we're following his path. And we really felt like, he was leading us saying that, we needed to kind of scale back on the number of couples that we were working with, and that he was going to send us the couples that, he wanted us to work with. So this year we made the commitment to have less weddings and to really focus on Todd and I being the primary people that are there the day of filming. So while we still have members of our team, we still have Emmanuel and Brent and Joseph, and we still those are still part of our Askem Studios family. We just are not booking as many weddings, so they may not be as busy as they were last year. And then Logan and Vivian here in South Carolina, they actually are they had started their own company and just doing amazing things, with that, and so we're super happy for them. But we kind of wanted to scale back a little bit and be just more intentional about just being with our couples.
Yeah, and all the consults that we do, for those that have not booked with us or had a consult with us, the consults are all done by Kelley and I. And so we work really hard to establish those relationships. And so, and like Kelley said, just being more intentional with making our businesses, we have our vision for our business. And so we want to make sure that we're, living up to those standards. And so
it was making us sad that, we spent, time getting to know these couples, and then we weren't actually able to be a part of their day because we were at another wedding. And
right.
So I think that was a big part of it. It was just like you said, we developed a rapport with somebody, and then to not be able to kind of see it through was, I think we were just missing the mark on that. Yeah. But I mean, in addition to that, too, I've really found a passion for photography. I mean, I love video too. And I think my heart is always going to be there, especially when it comes to big moments. But I've really enjoyed being able to capture, a moment and that laugh and, that a moment that happened maybe with the mom or the daughter and things like that, just that instant, that instant moment. I've enjoyed that. So we've added the option of, we were doing it a little bit last year as, because I knew that I wanted to do it, but, now it's something that we're really focusing on, is doing a bundled service of, photo and video. And I think it's gone well. I've spent a lot more time with brides.
Yeah.
So not as much time with grooms.
Right. So, most of the times Kelley was with the groomsmen and I was with the bride, even though Kelley is more than capable of first shooting. She's had weddings where she's been the primary shooter with the brides. But it has been nice, having that service, and we're going to actually delve into like some of that here, as part of like what our discussion is about today. So we'll definitely come back to that. Another big thing for us is, we did win, for the community votes in Richmond. We won.
But we're the top three.
No, it's a different one.
So
the community votes in Richmond, we won. We won best videographer for that. And so that was we want to thank everybody that supported us on that. That's a big one. Right now, as of this airing, we just found out this week that we were in the top 3 for the Best of the Upstate contest. So we will find out, was it June?
July 6th.
Yeah. So
like over a month.
Yeah, over a month from now, we should know if we won. But regardless, we're just honored to be not only considered, but to be considered in with the company of other great establishments that are also in the finals. So, it's been a real blessing to have the support again. And just last year we were in the top 5, and now we're in the top 3, and so, it's an upward trajectory. So we're definitely grateful for that. So. And then, one of the other things, a lot of couples already know this, is that, the other part of what we're going to talk about today is like the addition of our analog services. So we started a sister company. If you listen to that Dazed and Engaged podcast, you'll hear us talk more in depth about just film versus digital. And so we started a sister company, Askem 8 Films, that's strictly film only. So it's Super 8 film, 8mm film, and 16mm film. And so that started this last year. And, Kelley looked at me like I had 5 heads whenever I talked about started. And it's actually been quite impressively popular. So that's been a nice addition. And so that's also helped in where we're scaling back a little bit to be able to focus on not just the business, but obviously our family. We have 5 kids, so we have a busy life on the home front. And so just being able to enjoy those moments as well, that's been a real blessing. So those are just kind of the updates, like news-wise, like what's going on. But, I don't have like some kind of fancy transition into the topic. So we just kind of figured we'd hop on here real quick, do an episode this week. We're going to do this weekly anyways, but we just kind of wanted to get our feet wet again and get back into it. So, so we just kind of wanted to address a couple different questions. So we're going to bounce back and forth between the film and the bundled services. So, I kind of went off of some common questions that we get during our consults on what couples can expect, or questions that they have in regards to those services. So, one of the first ones that comes up in my mind was, what are the unique aesthetic qualities of Super 8, 8mm, 16mm compared to digital? And so I'm not going to go, if you want to hear the long form answer on this, listen to the Dazed and Engaged podcast with Taylor.
Yeah, I'm literally like tapping his leg,
yeah.
Okay, cut it off.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's so excited.
Realistically, everyone, once they've seen Super 8, like on Instagram or TikTok or on Facebook, when they see the image of it, they kind of know what it is. It has that little square sprocket hole down in the bottom corner. So, I mean, it's just a matter of the size of film, and the grain of film. It all has that nostalgic film look. So that's kind of just like a real brief summary. So if you're looking for something that has like the nostalgia, that has the, the vintage, authentic vintage feel to it, that's definitely something to consider. Kelley, give your thoughts on like the Super 8 whenever we first introduced it, like what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah. So when Todd first came to me about, adding Super 8 to our packages, I was like, nope, let's not do that. Like, I didn't think that there would be a market for it. I just did not think that people would be excited just because there's no audio that goes with it. So I was like, who's going to want to capture those moments, without having the audio? But I think what's unique about Super 8 is that they're just kind of like snippets. So they're even like shorter. I guess they're not really shorter than digital, because they're like 5 to 10 second, clips or whatnot. But I don't know, when they all go together, I think they're just, it's nice. It's a nice complement to your digital package. Or if like, depending on like your personality, I think it's nice just to have it by itself too, and not necessarily partner it with a digital. My personal preference is I like to have the video completely separate. Like I don't personally like it when we clip them together, like digital and analog. But again, it's a style, and it's what you like. But I like it when Todd just puts the whole video together from all of the analog film. That's what I like to see. But
yeah, and I think that it has its place. Not all couples, it's not for every couple. No, number one, and I think that's the biggest thing to say. Like everyone, like like some couples, it really kind of brings out like a euphoria about you, like when you were young, like when you were 8. And, a relative came around with the camera and you're acting all goofy in front of the camera, and it just gives you that feel. And obviously not every couple's the same. So, I'm not saying that non-fun couples wouldn't like it. It just, I think it's more of a personal preference. So I think that it's something that's worth exploring, but it may not be for you. Some people just don't like the grainy look, and that's perfectly fine. I think the biggest thing for me is making sure that if you're going to go with Super 8, that you're getting something that's authentic. If someone is advertising or looking, whether it's a group or if you're seeking someone that does it, ensuring that if you're asking for that specifically, that is specifically what you're getting. A lot of times, and I've seen it more and more here of late, and I was just talking about this, today, and it grinds my gears. Like the couples that are offering, or the companies that are offering overlays as it is a real thing when it's not. And I'm seeing more and more of it. And so I think that it's fine if the couple knows that it's an overlay, hey, that we don't have a vintage camera, and, but we can make it, look somewhat close, but there's nothing that beats that, having a real camera, that takes the cartridge of film, putting it in, giving it to the couples, letting them film each other, letting them, not only them, but like the bridal party, just have fun with it. There's just something that, that about that. It's more about the, we're definitely about the user experience as well.
I think not only that part, but also like making sure that they're not like trying to charge you for like, the cost of film and things like that if they're not actually using it. Like there shouldn't be, if it's an overlay, there shouldn't be a huge upcharge to put an overlay on something, that's something that's done in editing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with charging a little bit extra. But like for us, like we have out-of-pocket expenses that, associated with purchasing the film, getting the film developed. So in those scenarios, like that's why we charge extra money for that. Yeah. We do have the cameras, so like that's an investment. We have to purchase the cameras. We have to maintain the upkeep on it. So when you're having companies that are, that are charging you for, extra for like this particular service, just make sure that they're actually, charging you because there is a service associated with it, not just, putting an overlay on it, like you said.
Well, and, I started to laugh because when you said, we have the cameras, I have like 40 of them at this point. Like, it's, our inventory of Super 8 millimeter and 16 millimeter cameras is ever growing. So, before I stay there, I'm going to move on to the next topic so my wife does not beat me on the camera. So, so we do offer bundled services, and so like this is one that I just want Kelley to more so speak to, just about the bundled, just the bundled services and everything that goes along with that, like from your side, because you're more of the photographer on that end of it.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we realized, I think when we relocated to South Carolina was that like venues offer just like inclusive packages, and so a lot of times when you're booking your venue, and I think it's going to move to different areas as well, but as you're booking these things, you have the option to maybe save a little bit of money by doing inclusive packaging or doing bundled services with different vendors, because it's not just photo and video. Like there are DJs that offer like wedding coordination, or there's planners that offer like floral. So like there are.
Well, I saw one today for like a photographer that offers officiating. Kelley, you did not silence your phone whatsoever.
Okay, I want you to look at this.
No, I don't need to look at it.
No, but look, see,
no, I can't.
Down because I told you that's.
I can't look because we are on the post-edited side of this video. We're in separate rooms, so we cannot let the audience know that we are technically beside each other right now.
You want to see it right there? So. You can see. See, the phone is it's on. You see the switch right there? See, right. It's like there. Okay, it is definitely off. Yeah. But I just need a new phone. I've said this.
I saw a photographer today that actually officiated as well, and I was like, "Well, how's that work?" I was like.
They're obviously two different people. Right. They're not going to like be taking the photos while they're like, and now I pronounce you, and then let me put my camera up real quick. They may do that. I don't know. You just that would be interesting. I would almost want to see that kind of combination.
Instead of the photographer being behind the officiant whenever the first kiss happens, the officiant is doing the selfie during the first kiss. Okay, all right.
Okay. Anyway, so. So to do, bundled services, I think, we talked about it on, on the other podcast,
Dazed and Engaged podcast.
I'm sorry. I was going to say Dazed and Confused, but I knew that wasn't right. So
that, I want to say that too.
It definitely wasn't. That's definitely not it, because Taylor is super helpful. So it was not confused at all. But, so, we talked about just like there's pros and cons to both, especially when you're looking at bundling photography and videography, because, for most brides, they kind of have a vision of, what they want their photos to look like. And then they have like a hope for what their video is gonna look like as well. So it just, it really just kind of depends on your style. But majority of the time, like if you're going with, when you're choosing these things, usually you're going to want the same kind of thing. Like I think it would be, kind of different if we had a bride that says, yeah, I really want to have like, a light and airy photographer, and then I want a dark and moody video. I just would not think that, that there would be someone that would go to those two extremes, but, it may happen. But that's the main, I think the biggest benefit to doing the bundled services is it will most definitely save you money because you're going with one company, and majority of the time there is going to be a discount there for that. And then the other thing too is that you have that relationship already built in. And while 99% of the time, vendors are professional and they're going to work together, even if they have like differences of opinions on how the day should, unfold or whatnot. They're going to, we all look at it as like, hey, we're here for the couple. So we're going to do whatever we need to do to make sure that we're providing the best possible product for our couple. And that happens most of the time. But when you have a relationship with, the photographer or the videographer, it generally will just make things a lot smoother and the day just go a lot better, I think. So I think that's the biggest benefit to doing a bundled service like video and photo together.
So, the other thing is, can you do like customization with it? Like, can you do like customization, with your packages for like photo and video? Like, this is a common question we get a lot. So not just photo and video, but on the Super 8 and film side. So we just wanted to take a minute, and just kind of like also go into that and just talk about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think any company can customize any package that they want. I mean, obviously, most companies that have been in business for an extended period of time will have packages already set up because those are the most common things that couples are asking for. And I know that's why we have our packages, because we'll have a couple that'll say, yeah, this is what I need, and they they're not looking for like Super 8 or 35 millimeter film or anything like that. So, they're looking for a more digital option, kind of thing. Or they may say, hey, I really value photo, maybe more so than a video. So they may say, hey, I want to have, 2 photographers or whatnot. So you can always customize, what you want. I think the most important thing is that when you're starting to look at like building your contracts and, setting up your expectation is to have those conversations with your vendors and say, these are what my priorities are. What can we build to make it within my budget? And then sometimes there's, the packages that are already established are ones that are offering things that you maybe were like, yeah, I'm not sure I want that, but, if it's included in the package, I'll go, it's within my budget, I'll go ahead and try and add it. I know we've had a couple people that, when we were getting Super 8 going, that it was just, we offered it to include it in their package, and it wasn't something that they were like, oh yeah, that sounds great, but because we were offering it for them and it wasn't costing them any extra money, they said, yeah, okay, let's do it. And I think I can think of like 2 of those couples that really just embraced it and they really enjoyed it. And when they looked back, they're like, I'm really glad that we had that as part of our package. So sometimes it's worth those things too, is that you don't know what you want until you actually get it.
Right. Well, and I think that's definitely true. Like, like you're referring to like the Super 8 side. When we first started out with it, we did comp it on like 2 or 3 weddings just to get a little bit of a portfolio down, with it. But I mean, with that, this is where like the whole, for, customizing like the Super 8 thing kind of comes into play. Like there's different film stocks for like different moments, different time frames of the day. And so I think, customizing your package, like if you want to have like, if you're just doing a straight straight analog, service, or if you are only doing like a certain amount of rolls of film, with your digital, package, what are the, this is where we like to ask, like, okay, what are the key moments that you would like to see captured with this format? And so that way we can customize on the back end what we know we need to get the best image possible, and I think this is one thing that sets us apart from the novice who's just picking up a camera and then suddenly they have a package on their website that they offer it, is, we know the film inside and out. And so we know what lighting, what film stocks to use for what lighting, et cetera, and making sure that we're like, I even got it down to a science where I know exactly how much footage I need to shoot throughout the day to be able to, utilize, certain cartridges, because with the cartridges of film, you only get 3.5 minutes, if you were to hold the trigger down from like start to finish in one long clip. So this is why we do it like intermittently, break it up into like 5-6 second clips throughout the day. And so I'm able to like nail it to a precise that by the time, if you're doing a special exit, I know that film's going to run out like right by the time you guys are walking down, so I mean, we've this is one area where we definitely have tried to customize it to make it an affordable option, because I think the other thing you're going to find is if you are shopping around for film services with a digital, service, a lot of times people jack that price up on film. And yes, there is a cost associated with it. We have to have the film, we have to purchase the film. We have to have it, sent off, scanned, and developed the scan, digitized, and sent back to us. I specifically use certain places for reasons. There's a lot of labs out there that they upcharge. They are in the upcharge business themselves. And so, they're in the upcharge business themselves because they'll upcharge whoever's sending the film in for the different file formats that it comes back in, and so it'll be extra. So I've done my homework, to make sure that when we're sending the film off, that we're using the best service provider to get our stuff digitized. It's not costing the couple, anymore. And so that may be some of the costs associated with some of the other outfits that are doing it. But it's, we try to keep everything as economically priced as possible, and so trying to make sure that, we're, we have a rental service. We've started to offer that as a customer. So couples that are going on their honeymoon, if they want to do a camera rental, they can actually take the camera with them on their honeymoon. And we have that coming up. We have one of those coming up this summer or fall. One of our cameras is going to end up going to, where is it? Do you remember where?
I don't remember where they're going.
Portugal. I think it was Portugal. So I'm pretty sure it's Portugal. So that was kind of cool to see, that's kind of cool. So,
I like how you said one of our cameras. Like the camera's going to come back and talk to us and be like, guess what I saw,
It'll talk to us to the visuals of that film that was captured. But
obviously, they're not going to be like...
But I'll be like, I just think that's cool. Like, that's really cool. Like, and I don't know, I'm going to toot my own horn for a minute. I don't know what made me think about it, but I was like, this would be kind of cool if we could just offer this service for the couples to take the cameras with them on their honeymoon. And obviously, there are certain things we want to have filmed and not filmed. So we got to keep it PG.
Oh my gosh, Todd.
So, but I'm joking. That's obviously a joke. Good Lord.
Horrible one.
So
cut that out.
No, I'm not cutting anything. I was doing a straight shot. So, but yeah, like, I mean, we, I just think it's cool. Like, to be able to offer that experience. Like, that would be something that I would, when we get married, I would love to have,
Yeah, I mean, like when we took the road trip with AJ, like it was nice to kind of just, like that's what I like. So for
context, when we took the road trip with AJ, she's referring to, he went and visited a college here in Texas, and so we actually took the one of the many Super 8s I have with us, and we did like a film on the road trip. And so that's what she was referring to there. But
for me, like, I think that's like the perfect way to capture like a road trip, like, because I definitely don't need audio for that. Like, I can, for that, those are the memories that I just kind of want to look back and I want to just smile and, probably laugh at some of the cheesy things that the boys did. And, so I think that type of thing is perfect. So even if it's not like wedding related that you would like to, kind of capture like that nostalgia or whatever. It could be like a birthday or a road trip, So I thought when he came up with the idea of renting out the Super 8s, I thought that was a really great idea. Well,
and apparently so, because we've had the services booked. So
yeah,
that's a good indicator.
Yes,
so
I agree.
As we're winding this down, the last question I really kind of wanted to pose to you is like, do we offer any special packages or incentives for couples who choose to bundle both analog film and digital services together?
I mean, we obviously offer, a discount, like, when we're bundling services together, we do offer a discount for that. And then I feel like, Todd, because he just loves to film in Super 8, I feel like we are often, just giving that, as a bonus, so to speak, as couples are booking things. And we had a great wedding. Was it last week?
Yeah, this
past Saturday, where we actually were using digital and Super 8 and 35 millimeter, and I think for them it matched their personality. Like they just they had that nostalgic feel to them, and they just really embraced it. And even when we did their engagement shoot, like taking the older, or taking the 35 millimeter photos and things like that. So I think it fits. It just really fit their personality. But like I said, sometimes you don't know what you're going to like until you actually do it. So sometimes it's worth, hey, I might be interested in this, and add it on. Like one of the things that we haven't really fully explored on the photo side of things is, looking at doing like, a photo book. That's not something that we currently offer in our packages, but it's something that we're kind of exploring, just because for those of you that don't know, the best possible quality photo that you can get is when you actually order them through your photographer, because they have the raw images, and that's that when you're looking at getting photos in larger scales, like 11 by 13s and your canvases and your portrait sizes and things like that. Generally, you want to have the raw image.
You want to have access to the raw, because it's the true pixels, and you're not getting a scaled down version that's best viewed on web, etc. And that's why things are pixelating whenever you're going to go print it out privately at Walmart or something like that. Going back to that, like bundling everything that we did on the like we did on this wedding this past weekend. I will give my personal perspective on this. There is a lot of moving parts when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there, because I definitely had my hands full. So between, while Kelly and I were, doing the bundled photo and video, I was also doing, some of the 35 as well as the Super 8. I was like, oh my God. I was like, it was a lot. I was like, so that was, so just keep that in mind, that if you're going to be, if you're trying to do all those services, make sure that you have a well-spaced timeline. Because this was a tighter one, and it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them, but it was a tighter timeline, and so it made it a little more challenging. Even though we were able to do it, I just felt like I was going from like the minute we got there until the minute we left, and it was like just nonstop. And so that's a lot to manage from the vendor's perspective.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, just making sure that the expectation is set for, your couples. Like if you're offering, multiple services, making we're fortunate because both of us are able to do photo and video. Like, so if there were times when I needed to flip over to video to get some video of, what was happening, because, you were doing something else in that moment or whatnot. So just making sure that the vendors that you're choosing, if you're doing bundled services, that they're able to work independently from each other, that that you don't have someone that's just like, oh, well, I can only do this, Bill can only do photo and Jill can only do video, or, whatever. I know you love when I make up these names, but it's just...
That's what I was laughing at. You're correct. Well, no, but that's true. Like your example is very, very true, because there were moments whenever I wasn't able to be where you were at, because I was with the groomsmen and I was doing the exact same thing you were doing. I was kind of, I was going through the same motions where I was switching back and forth to make sure that, because I knew that it just, because of where the timeline was, I knew there was no way I was going to be able to stop those moments. And then like, hey, let's go ahead, and so, Kelly's exactly right. Vet your vendors, like make sure that if someone's offering a photo video combo, and it's, whether it's husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or, or just business associates, that they are able to work independently of each other. A lot of times the day of, we even said it, we've said this as well on the other podcast that we did for the Days and Engage podcast, but it's true. Like, make sure that your vendors can work independently. I don't have to set Kelly's camera settings for her. Like she doesn't need to do that for me for photo. Like we both know.
Although he doesn't need to, he often is like, hey, are you in this? Are you in that? Just because he does the editing in fairness, so,
And then, on the other side, but I'm used to, it just being where we're video team only, and so, I like to make sure that our camera settings are the same, that way when I do go to edit, I don't have wild color, differences, white balance changes. And so, Kelley, do you want to land this plane for us?
So I would just say that, if there's any questions that you have, whether it's about, photo, video, analog, digital, or if there's questions about building timelines or, how to choose right vendors, thoughts, if you guys want to talk about, inclusive, venues. We would love to hear what you guys are interested in hearing about from a vendor perspective and, or even just a personal perspective. I mean, Todd and I have been together for over 20 years. So, whatever it is that, you guys are questioning about, please reach out, shoot us an email. We're happy to kind of get a topic. Or if you are a vendor and you would be interested in possibly coming and talking to us on the podcast, we would love that as well. We love to meet new people, and we love to develop relationships. And we're giving this to God, and He's going to send us what people need. So that's
So if you're interested in doing that, my email address is toddw@askemstudios.com. Kelley's email address is Kelley W KELLEYW @askemstudios.com.
Because I'm Irish.
Or our website is www.askemstudios.com, askemstudios.com. And so you can reach out to us there. But either way, we're going to be coming, like I said, every week. We're going to set aside the time to make sure that we're just offering just some insights. And it's not always going to be as formal as this one was. I think we were a little rusty. As we were trying to get back into it.
You weren't saying any jokes. You have to set them up and then I hit them out of the park. Well, that's all relationship work.
That's right, because you're the funny one between the two of us.
Without a doubt.
So, all right. Well, thank you again for tuning in, and we are grateful for you guys. And once again, say bye, Kelley.
Bye, Kelley.